you to explain the Band-Aid on your forehead so they don't get distracted by the amazing things you're going to tell us, because we didn't know bodybuilding was a contact sport here.
Yeah, no, a dumbbell hit me in the face. No, what happened last week, I was playing something called soccer tennis. It's like a hybrid of soccer on a tennis court. And I went for a high kick and my landing foot kind of swept below me. So I didn't land on my foot. I actually landed on my forehead and my wrist. And now I got a cast and a cool Band-Aid to show for it.
Oh, wow. I know, because you're a vegan, you're going to heal really quickly.
I actually feel pretty good in the wrist already. It's supposed to be 6 weeks, and a week into it, I can do a lot of motion and it hurts a lot less. So who knows? Maybe.
Oh, that is, only vegan style. All the rest of them, they sell them 12.
So Brian, let's start off with how you first became a vegan. You were really struggling with acne, and you decided to take dairy out of your diet. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I started having acne at 15 years old, and that's when I also started lifting. And so I was eating lots of calories. I was having tons of dairy. I mean, like an obsessive amount of dairy. I was having a gallon of milk a day, because there's a thing called gallon of milk a day diet. And I was having mass gainers and whey protein and protein bars and all that stuff. So I was really pounding dairy into my system. And I had a bunch of nodular cysts, so like marbles under the skin. I'd have like 4 to 6 at a time. And so I tried everything, antibiotics. I took all the medicines and stuff that the dermatologist would tell me, and none of them worked. So eventually I got on Accutane. And after 76 weeks of Accutane, which is like 4 times longer than anyone's ever been on Accutane, it finally started to clear up. And then they took me off of it. And then 3-4 weeks afterwards, my acne started coming back. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I took the most severe medicine you can possibly take to get rid of my acne, and it's coming back, which is not supposed to happen. So I was like, what else can I do? So I looked around and I tried to figure it out. And I took out milk and dairy and cheese, like all dairy stuff, as well as like the protein bars and all that kind of stuff. And I saw my skin start to clear up. So that got me like really excited, and started looking at all the other things that I was doing, like meat and eggs and things like that. And I figured the hormones and the meat and the eggs and things like that were also playing a part. So I took everything out, upped my vegetables to 12 to 16 servings of like dark green vegetables a day. I did more water. And just that change right there, I wish I would have known before Accutane, because that is what I think has really like cleared up my skin. And I believe there's science behind it too, because I've read quite a bit of research about this.
So, okay, I'm going to go a little dark here, a little deep, and we're just going to get right into this.
I'm ready.
I had severe acne in my late 20s. Okay. So it sucked, because when you're 16, everyone has acne, and I was completely clear, and then everybody's skin cleared up. And then I was in college with the severe acne. Right. I got put on 2 courses of Accutane. So one was like 20 weeks, and then they took a break, and then I was on it again. It cleared it up, but then it started coming back after I was, was taken off it the last time. About 3 years later, I tried to commit suicide. I've gone pretty deep into researching Accutane after you shared your journey of suicidal thoughts and tendencies. And there is significant amount of anecdotal evidence that Accutane has that side effect. Now, I don't want to get on an Accutane bashing conversation, because that's not what this is about, what you're about, or this podcast is about. But what I want to look at is this intense control by big pharma, and why doctors aren't advising us and telling us, especially when we know that we can take action naturally and systemically to eliminate some of these animal products like dairy, and why our society is okay with just popping these myriad of pills, like to get rid of acne, to get rid of erectile dysfunction, to get rid of high cholesterol, to get rid of high blood pressure, when all we see is these pharmaceutical ads with these horrible side effects. And there's one now that's like a skin, it's eczema or something. It's a skin issue. And it's like, they go on and it says, you may have suicidal thoughts or tendencies, liver damage, skeletal damage, pancreatitis, Crohn's disease. I mean, and they say really, really fast. And I'm thinking at the end of the commercial, I think I'll just take eczema. It's cool. I can have some whelps on my neck, but nobody's thinking how they could heal this from the inside out. So it's sometimes a really big deal when something is potentially causing you to have suicidal thoughts. What the hell? Help me. Help me.
It's crazy. So I think with North American people, we're really conditioned to go straight to a doctor whenever we have any issue, which, when you're young, that's what you do. You talk to your parents and then they take you to the doctor. And so you just get used to any problem you have. The solution is a doctor's going to tell you what to do. You never really think about what is the reason that it's happening in the first place. So with Accutane, I feel like it's just, at least for me, when I went to my dermatologist, it was just the step that you take after you do the initial minocycline, then you do doxycycline, so there's antibiotics. And then after that, they're just like, okay, well, after Retin-A, there's pretty much nothing else that we can do except Accutane. Are you willing to take the risks? And like you're saying, the risks are so big, and there's like a list that's so crazy. And it's crazy that suicide and like severe depression and all these like really gnarly things, like you can have colon cancer in the future, all this crazy stuff. It's kind of passed over. Like they mention it real quick, but they really just mention it, and you just feel like it's one of those legal waivers. You're just like, okay, and I'll just sign off on it, but nobody really like talks about it deeply. And I think that for me, at least, I wish I wouldn't have done Accutane. And I have people on my channel because I do a lot of acne videos now. And when I was on Accutane, I like chronicled the whole journey. I have people who comment like every single day, and they'll say one of the side effects, they'll say like, I now have severe depression, or some people will say I can't lift anymore because my joints have like deteriorated to a point that I can't bear weight like heavy that I could. I can't squat the same way I used to. I can't deadlift the same way. I personally have a couple of issues that like I think are from Accutane. Like I have a really bad like problems with my back now, where I'm not able to do deadlifts and squat the same way that I used to. A lot of my joints have like kind of frozen up and stuff. And so if I would have been able to go back and not do Accutane, I would have been so stoked for that. I kind of forget there was a third question that I was going to.
Why aren't people looking into a systemic pathway to heal themselves? Like, why are we in this society where it's just like, obviously doctors are trained to treat something that is already sick, that is already not well,
Right.
instead of treating us the other way, like systemically, so that we don't get sick, right? So we know that they're not trained in that. We know that that's probably part of it. But you had mentioned in one of your videos that your doctor did say, I think it was when you did you were more towards the end of the course, and he was like, oh yeah, we didn't tell you just to drop the whey protein. Like it was just kind of some sort of side note.
Right. So with dermatologists, I don't think that they are legally allowed to start talking about food because they're not dietitians. Yeah. And so they don't really have the ability to, I don't know if this is true, but I just feel like they don't have the ability to talk about food directly. And so he would always skirt around dairy. He'd always skirt around anything that I could change that I was doing. And then you're right. Like once I got so far into it that he was like, I don't know why this Accutane isn't working. Maybe, and he didn't say this is for sure, but he said, we have kind of noticed a couple of the other guys who lift and who have acne, they took whey out and then their acne started getting better. So he didn't necessarily say like there's science to it or anything like that, but maybe try it because there's some anecdotal experience to it. And the doctors that are saying that, diet has no part to it, because I know a lot of people push that diet has no part to acne and is completely genetic. They are basing that off a scientific study that was done about like 35 years ago or something like that. And it's literally one study, and it's a flawed study that wasn't performed correctly. That, in the study, it proves that diet has no effect on anything, but they weren't controlling the diets that people were on. Right. They were just controlling one part of the diet. And so you never know what else they were eating. You weren't cessating from dairy completely. Now there's new research that, unfortunately, again, Big Pharma, I don't think really wants to tell people to stop taking medicine and start learning about diet. So why would they fund, or why would there be any big money going into research that would currently prove that dairy and other things have an effect on your acne?
So thank you so much for tuning in today. If we helped you in any way, then click the subscribe button and let's keep hanging out together. We have so much more to share with you.
And if you need more information on actually making the switch for good, please visit us at switchforgood.org for loads of info. And you can subscribe to our mailing list where you will receive all sorts of super cool gifts, discount codes to our very fave dairy-free products, and a lifetime of powerful health tips. So join us on the journey to switch for good. This is the future.